Welcome to Survivor Stories Saturdays on Now TV. This is where survivors share their truth, raw, unfiltered, and real. Every story you hear is more than memory. It's a lesson, a warning, and a beacon of hope for those still finding their way out of the fog. The mission of the Now movement is simple: to break the silence, to expose the red flags, and to remind every survivor that healing is not only possible, it's powerful. Because when one of us speaks, others find the courage to step into freedom. This is Survivor Stories Saturdays. Stay powerful.
Hi, my name is Christina Ditchkofsky. First, I just wanted to start by saying thank you very much for allowing me to be on this show and to be able to speak to your listeners. So I am a trauma-informed nurse. I am in the last year of my psychiatric nurse practitioner degree, which is extremely important. You'll find out why. I am also the author of the book Burnt Letters, which we will talk about later. But before that, I was just in and out of one toxic relationship after another, and in and out of therapy, married, divorced, and just going from one bad relationship to another, and just wondering if anybody was ever going to love me. It took a very long time for me to realize that I was seeking love in the wrong way, and I was breaking every boundary there possibly you could imagine was to please whoever it was that wanted to love me, I thought. I was in school, enrolled in school years ago to start my nursing degree, and my husband at the time, who never worked overtime, automatically worked overtime the day my classes were to start. So instead of finding a babysitter and having a backup plan, I played the blame game and just didn't go. And then years go by, divorced, remarried, and the same thing happens again. Now I am going back to school for nursing, and there's a lot going on in my life, and my husband says, "Oh, I don't think you could handle nursing and everything else that's going on." So again, I listen to them. I would give up time with my friends to be with whatever relationship guy I was with, because they would tell me, "Oh, hey, I don't think your friends like me. I don't think they're good enough for you. You deserve better friends." Like, what? These have been my friends for like 20 years. What are you talking about? But I just wanted love so bad I would believe them. And then I get divorced again. I know, I'm right up there with Liz Taylor. But I get divorced, and I meet this guy, and I am telling you right now, I thought he was the one. He asked every question there was to learn all about me, to know what I liked, what I didn't like. I was so blinded. I literally thought he was like my soulmate. And we just meshed. And we were sitting having a conversation one night, and he was asking me about my dreams. And of course, one of my dreams has been for my entire life to go back to school and become a psychiatric nurse practitioner, which is why it's so important. And he's like, "Oh, I don't think I could be in a relationship with someone who's going back to school, and this is such a new relationship. How the whole relationship is going to start to sift. We're not going to have solid ground." So, of course, what did I do? The very next day, I dropped out of school. And that was when I realized I am continuously breaking the promises to myself and breaking my boundaries to love myself or love. Do I even love myself? How am I ever going to find somebody to love me if I don't love myself? So, of course, there was multiple more times, but I finally realized that this is not who I am, and this is not working. And what totally broke it was the moment that I was standing in his bathroom, and he held a loaded gun to my head and told me nobody loved me, nobody cared about me, and that if he shot me right now, nobody would even miss me. And honest to God, I wasn't even afraid. I was like, well, maybe nobody does. And in that moment, I realized that every boundary that I had been breaking and breaking and breaking repeatedly, I had taught myself that I don't even know how to protect my own self. And that was when I realized I have to learn what a boundary is. Not just any boundary, but a healthy boundary. So I wrote down a couple things here because it's important to understand what a boundary is. A boundary is saying no without apologizing. You don't owe them an apology at all. It doesn't feel right to you. No. A boundary is keeping a promise to yourself before anyone else. If I wanted to go hang out with my friends, I can go hang out with my friends. If somebody tells me that that's not right, you better run. A boundary is recognizing what a red flag is. Because it's not an invitation. When somebody tells you, for example, we were out to dinner one night with this guy, we're going to call him Frank. That's what his name is in my book. And I was on my cell phone looking something up, and he took my cell phone out of my hands and sat it on the side of the table. I made an excuse for his behavior, and I said, oh, well, that's his boundary. Well, what about my boundaries? I literally did nothing. That's a huge red flag. And I didn't even realize that. I was making excuses for other people's poor behavior. So we have to understand our boundaries are not an invitation for us to work on ourselves and make ourselves better, to get love. We have to have boundaries and love ourselves. There's a line in my book that says caring for someone can be beautiful, but love that requires you to shrink yourself to be chosen, that's not love. That's a warning. And I think that when you're in and out of bad relationships, you don't even know what boundaries are, and you don't know what's bad and what's not bad. And that's what we have to learn. So these are some things that I wished I had learned that a lot of people know, but I wish I had learned them. You need to check your body, because real peace is steady. If you feel like you're walking around on eggshells all day long, you're not holding your boundaries. And you need to pause and give yourself some time to think before you make a promise to someone else, to make sure you're not crossing something that doesn't feel right with you. And remember that boundaries are a self-love action, and they're not about pushing other people away. They're about protecting what's sacred to you. So today my life is completely different, and I am finishing my psychiatric nurse practitioner degree. It's been a long, long, long road, but I'm finishing it up. God willing, I'll get through this. It's one of the hardest things I've done. Let's see. I just want to make sure I don't forget anything about boundaries. All I can say is that if you are out there and you feel completely alone, which is one of the biggest things in a toxic narcissistic relationship, is you feel completely isolated. You are not alone. You are not. There are millions of people out there who are going through this. And I know that's hard to believe, but until I really got out and started understanding it, I did not realize how many really bad people there are out there. There are gazillions and gazillions of good people out there, but when you run across somebody who's a very bad person, they can destroy everything about you. So I'm hoping that through these podcasts, people can understand that you can get help And this is awesome, an awesome way for people to get help and realize that they're not alone. I wrote the book Burnt Letters. It is a journey, a 15-month journey of this relationship that I was in and out of after my second divorce. It goes back and forth between the relationship, my past, because this is where it all was rooted in my childhood. My father was very abusive. My mother was abusive verbally. And in and out of the past to the present and therapy. And it is a lot of swearing. It is raw. The things that are in this book are things that no one knew about me. But if you read the reviews, you will see people who have read this have literally said that they felt like I was writing their life because I don't hold anything back. It was very therapeutic for me to write about. I am offering the ebook super cheap, $4.99. I'm doing workshops. People can get the book for free. We're learning how to write, because what saved me was therapy. Also writing. Writing is extremely therapeutic. So I'm certified in journaling through healing and trauma-informed certification. And is therapy. You don't have to publish it, but writing it and looking back, you will be like, what? I read my book and I go, who was that? So I'm telling you, where you are right now versus where you're going to be even in a month, 3 months, 6 months, a year, it's all going to change. It is so going to change. Believe me, it will change. All right. If you need anything, I'm here anytime. I love to talk to people.
This has been Survivor Stories Saturdays on Now TV. Every voice we share breaks another chain and lights another path forward. If you're ready to take your next step, the N.O.W. Healing Library is free and waiting for you at thechurchofrealtalk.com. Join us next week for another story of survival, strength, and freedom. Until then, stay powerful.